You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Capture After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Capture After Show.
Tribal. I like the tribal music this week.
I do.
Well, thanks guys for tuning into AfterBuzzTV.com. Bing is for doing, and we are doing the Capture After Show for Season 1, Episode 3, The Blue Devils. I'm your host, James Wallington, a member of the Lime Team, and with me is my wonderful co-host.
Here, I'm Donald Romain. I'll be co-hosting with James tonight.
And we also have our caller, Keetin. She can't be here tonight, but hey, Keetin.
Hi guys, my name's Keetin Marchi. I'm glad I'm with you. Sorry I can't be in the studio. I've been on set all day and I'm disgusting, so you don't want me there anyway.
Well, no worries. We're glad to have you on the line. So before we get started, like every week, let's talk about our overall first impressions of this episode. Keetin, what did you think of the episode?
I loved this episode. I feel like it's finally getting its groove. I feel like I'm so into the characters at this point. I'm very invested, and I feel like the fact that these two really, really strong teams got captured, it just showed that anything can really happen in this game, and I loved that.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Totally
I feel
agree.
like we're finally getting to know each of the characters and the personalities and the different teams, and getting to know how the teams feel about each other. And just the title, The Blue Devils in general, it just pinpoints the relationships, especially when we get to talk about the blue and the black team. And I especially want to talk about the red team, how people voted. So it was a good episode for me overall.
Absolutely. I love that the title of this episode was The Blue Devils. That means Jarek and Shimana definitely left their impact on the game when they left last week with their speech.
It's true. I mean, it's not far from the truth.
No. So Keetin, we're going to talk about the first day's hunt and the selection of the hunt team. So we all know that Blue, of all teams, was randomly selected to be the hunt team. What were your thoughts on that?
It seemed a little fishy to me, to be honest. Like, it just almost seemed too perfect. But I know, like, rules are so important when it comes to reality television shows, especially when it's for that much money. So I know they're playing by the rules, and the producers got super lucky with having the blue team get drawn, because, man, talk about drama by having them, take control and be the hunters this week. It really threw everybody for a loop, and because everybody was gonna gun for blue.
Yeah.
And then it put them in control, and I love to hate the blue team. I think they're some of the best characters so far in this season, and so it was fun to see them get, I think it also, tripped them up a little bit, because they're kind of, I think they were so surprised to actually be able to be on the offensive this week, because I think they were ready to have to, be on the defensive again, because they're constantly on the defensive in camp. So, I don't know. I love that they were the hunt team.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would have to say that, just like you said, Keetin, it seemed a little fishy to me. And I thought it was a little fishy last week when the red team followed up the purple team as the hunt team. Because what they're doing, they're putting the strongest teams as the hunt teams to start off. And it makes it feel like they're trying to make the show more exciting by ensuring that the hunt team is capable, or it's going to be exciting. And so when the blue team was the hunt team, as excited as I was also a little disappointed, because it made it seem a little too perfect.
Sure.
But with that being said, if the blue team wasn't the hunt team, it would have been a little less exciting, because everybody would have gone for the blue team, because I was sure the blue team was going to go home.
Right. I think being there, when that thing comes up, the talent comes up on the stage, everyone is just so scared and nervous. Some people are obviously wanting to be the hunt team at this point, but Rebecca and I were really unsure if we were ready to be the hunt team at this point. So when it was blue team, we were kind of relieved, because we knew, you even heard Rebecca say at one point, we're not the targets here. We know Blue's not going to come after us. Even if they saw us, it would have been not that exciting of a chase scene. But I feel like with Blue being the hunt team, it definitely brought in a lot of excitement. And I think everyone was paranoid. I think everyone was like, Blue is so unpredictable. And especially now as the hunt team, who knows what's going to happen.
So when you guys were standing there and the Blue talent came up, could you feel the energy shift from all the teams knowing that, okay, what we all thought was going to happen is not going to happen?
Definitely. And I think a lot of us too are like, this is too perfect. Of course the Blue team's the hunt team, and we're all going to have to run for our lives today. It's not going to be a walk in the park for sure.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
I can tell you guys, like, I've worked on a lot of reality television shows, and they don't mess around with those things. They're very serious. And when they say it's a random draw, I promise you it's a random draw.
No, absolutely. And we were reinforced that every day. So I have no doubt. It's for us, it definitely made for a good 2 days of hunting.
Oh, it was perfect for them. And I'm glad you're here, Keetin, and that you can say that, because for somebody like me who doesn't have a lot of behind the scenes reality experience, I'm definitely someone who will question that.
Of course.
But it's nice to know, yeah, they are going by the rules. It is random. It wasn't planned, but they couldn't have asked for a more perfect choice for that one.
Right. So
absolutely.
So Luke does the countdown, and everyone's getting nervous. You see all the close, intense face close-ups, and then everyone's off. And within the first 10 minutes of the hunt team being released, they hear Matt and Kalisha in the bushes.
Let's just touch on Matt and Kalisha's relationship.
Yeah.
It is hardcore, and I love it. And it's intense, and Kalisha is intense.
She very much is.
But I have no problem with it either, though, because, it's another nice character. It's a personality to see. But it was really... I was glad that they weren't caught.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to see Kalisha upset being caught after they were having that argument. Didn't want that happening. And also, I want to keep the white team around a little bit. I didn't want them to be caught.
They're definitely a very intense team. What do you think, Keetin?
I honestly don't think the Blue team could have caught the white team. I think if they did, Kalisha would have knocked one of them out. I love the white team. I think they're they're kind of another team that their characters really been able to shine. And it's funny because we didn't even see them the entire first episode,
right.
And they've come out so much in just 2 episodes. And I love that Kalisha called in last week, because it was we really get to see that's who she is. Like, she's she's not faking it for the TV. She's she is who she is. What you see is what you get, and they're hysterical. I love them.
We definitely love Matt and Kalisha because they are fighters. There's no doubt about that. They said last week, they're MMA fighter, and Kalisha's a professional boxer.
She said she thrives on confrontation.
Yeah.
She thrives on people, on the situations of uncomfortable, of knowing you said something and bringing it up when it's awkward.
But it's funny that the intensity that they do bring to the competition almost potentially cost them getting caught in the first hour of the hunt.
It did.
I think they learned very quickly that when they're out there, patrolling the hunting grounds, they have to be quiet and tone it down a little bit.
Also, I wonder how far they can go before other teams get irritated with it.
Sure.
Because as much as you can support it and be entertained and enjoy it, when you're out there and you're tired and you're hungry and you're thirsty, how much confrontation do you want to see? How much of a strong personality do you want to see? People like the Teal team who were fed up with Erica for complaining over the sandwiches so much. How long till they're tired of Kalisha talking? But at the same time, how much influence does the Teal team have besides the Red team ally? So I just don't. It just depends on how the team feels about them.
All very good points. Keetin, before I get Erica on the line in here, do you have anything else that you want to add and contribute to this episode, or what did you think about the teams captured and who went home?
I was absolutely shocked this episode that Red did not go home. Every episode I felt like I could pin who went home, but I did not anticipate.
Did we lose you?
Keetin? By them last week when they were the hunt team, and honestly, I felt like they were a more threatening team.
Sure.
To me. So I was really shocked Purple went home, and but I think Donald brings up a really good point where when you start complaining like that and like when does that become too much? And I think that had a lot to do with maybe why she went home and why they both went home. It makes me sad because I liked Purple Team a lot, but there's only one winner, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you keep watching online, I'll explain my reasoning for voting purple towards the end of today's after show.
Well, thanks for letting me call in, you guys.
Yeah,
if you want to find me on Twitter, you can find me at KeetinM33. I'll keep on listening, and can't wait to hear Erica's thoughts as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Keetin.
Thanks, Keetin. We can't wait to see you next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Before Erica calls in, I do want to make sure that everyone who is watching, make sure you go to iTunes, give us 5 stars, leave comments, subscribe to our podcast, and make sure if you missed today's show and you're listening to us on iTunes, you can actually watch us and put our faces to our names on YouTube the next day. We have the link up and everything like that. And also, if you're a fan of good comedy movies, make sure you check out Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro's film Serial Buddies. You can download that, I believe, and purchase that on iTunes. Am I correct, Marissa?
Correct, for $5.99.
$5.99. It's awesome. It's a very interesting twist and comedic take on serial killers. So make sure you check that out too. Anyways, going on to the hunt. Let's talk about how once White gets away. Yes. What do you want?
No, then we're on to the purple team.
We're on to
relaxing
the
and
purple team.
sunbathing on the rocks at the top of the arena.
Yes.
So as a player in the arena, would you have ever done that?
We have a caller now. Erica, hello.
Yes.
Hi, Erica.
Perfect. Erica, we just started talking about you guys.
How are you?
Nice. Good.
Good.
Training.
So we've kind of already talked about our overall impressions of the episode, and this was kind of your final hurrah for the show. What were your impressions on this episode after you watched it?
I feel like we knew better to be where we were. We also, like Matt and Clisha, happened to have a little argument that day, and so I think we didn't really have our heads on when we got to that rock. We were just kind of like annoyed with everything that was happening, and just were not thinking. Because had we been in like thick forest, you don't really have to outrun them that far. Like as a hunt team, I know you don't have to outrun them that far before you just lose them.
Right.
So that was not a good plan of action.
Well, they kind of showed it when you guys were up. I liked that you guys stayed high, and in the first episode, Rebecca and I did that, and that's when we ran into you guys because you had that mind concept that if we go high, maybe there's teams up there. You guys went high in this episode, and it seemed like you guys sat down and were counting because of the 3-minute rule. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Do you think that helped or worked against you in that moment?
Well, I thought that we had a clear vision of all sides. Sorry, there's people leaving. Okay, I thought we had a clear vision of both sides. Like if someone were to come up, we would see them from far enough away. But we didn't really. It was kind of the same thing that happened with you and us, where it's like all of a sudden they're just there. And so I think we didn't have the view that we thought we were going to have, because we weren't as concerned with them seeing us, because we're like, okay, if they see us, it doesn't matter. I can run faster than Shane and Eric. I can jump off of a high rock, and they're going to follow me and eat shit. So it's like, those are my options. But they just did. They came out of nowhere.
Well, it kind of, too, like you saw when you guys were pursuing Kelly and Marlena in the first episode, they were running downhill, and you guys even said they ran downhill, so it's easier to chase after them. Do you think maybe running downhill also kind of is what aided in you guys getting captured?
Yeah, unfortunately, there wasn't much more. Like, you only have a certain perimeter. Like, the maps that we have on our GPS, you can't go beyond that.
Yeah.
And so we were pretty much already at the top, so maybe we should have been, like, mid or something so that we had more up to run. But it was just a bad section to be in, because we ran, and you can kind of tell in the episode, like, we're kind of like, where do we go? Because there's just this rock, and then it's just, like, awful terrain where we were at. It was not good running terrain. But I mean, I wish Ryan would have followed me and jumped off the same rock I did, because Eric started to go after me and saw the jump and turned around and went back with Shane. So,
yeah.
Well, I was rooting for you guys to get away. I was really sad that they caught you, because I didn't think that they were capable, and so I do chalk it up to the terrain and the position you guys were in, because I do think you're more capable than the blue team.
Yeah, I mean, you can see, like, it's when Ryan gets caught, it's not Shane, like, catching up to him, like, tagging him. It's Shane, like, about to fall, and just, like, Ryan saving him, basically. So
Right.
I don't know. It's kind of a disaster. Like, you don't think, like, we planned. We were like, all right, hunting comes, just yell, they've already seen us, scream that they're there, and then run, and we were, like, decided that Ryan was going to be in front and I was just going to run after him.
Right.
But you don't realize, like, you can't really plan, because when you go into panic mode, like, when I saw the hunt team, I didn't even yell. I just started running. And that was not good, because Ryan was looking the opposite direction. So it actually took him, like, a few seconds, because I was, like, already booking it, and then I was like, look back, and Ryan's still sitting on the rock, and I'm like, Ryan!
Oh, crucial.
Yeah, so I was just like, oh, I gotta go.
Well, yeah, Arlen did make a good point in one of the little side interviews that, you know, when you're out there as prey, you're not really paying attention of a plan of attack. Like, when you're being pursued, you don't really know which direction to run in. It's like it's so quick in the moment that you don't really have time to be like, which direction are we gonna run? Like, which place are we gonna dodge? Like, you don't really have time to do that, because your mind just goes in, run for my life and get the hell out of there.
Fight or flight. Yeah,
Yep.
You go into that, like, really, like, instinctual, like, I'm leaving, and that's all that I know. And, yeah, so, like, and I think also, like, Ryan was supposed to lead, so you can hear, like, the sound bit is me, like, being like, Ryan, get in front, because I'm, like, trying to stick to the plan,
I did hear
but
that.
there's no way. He's, like, seconds behind, so he starts trying to get in front, and he's like, God, this is not working. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know, like, I've said this, even with us catching our teams, like, I didn't take that much credit. We didn't really take that much credit for teams that we caught. Like even catching you guys, it wasn't you guys. It's seriously luck. Like, when we weren't going after line, and we weren't going after yellow either. It was just like, it's just, we were on our way to get someone else, and you're just in the wrong place, wrong time.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree. When you said that tonight, I was like, thank God someone finally said it, because I feel like viewers look at people as there's strong teams and then there's the weak teams, and the weak teams aren't going to do well and the strong teams are going to do well. It does not matter if you're strong or if you're weak. It is 100% luck. And had Purple, you know, when we got captured in episode 1, we talked to Ryan and Erica, like, well, why did you guys come after us? Like, you know, Rob and Jacob were up there too. They had no idea Rob and Jacob were up there.
Oh, you guys didn't even see them?
Yeah.
So
No, we never saw
Oh.
Rob and Jacob. And
Well-
that's the thing, is you're in such dense forest too. We had so many teams come up to us that day, being like, or like after we were hunting, and like, oh my God, you were like 2 seconds or like 2 steps away from us. I don't know how you didn't see us. And we're like, what?
See, I like hearing that, and the
Yeah.
more I watch it, the more it does. As a viewer, I'm starting to realize that it's more of who you run into, and less of who
it
you're actually hunting.
because it comes down to, it's either your ass on the line or the team you catch, and at the end of the day, you're gonna pursue.
No, it's gonna be
whoever
the
you
first
see.
person I see, the very first person I see. So, Erica, obviously you were upset when you got caught. So, when you got caught, did you automatically feel like you were going home, or why was it that you got so upset?
Yeah, me and Ryan talked, and we're like, we can't get caught, because if we get caught, we are going home, because we were seen as like one of the strongest teams. And, you know, we kind of thought about maybe playing our game. Like, we're like, okay, we're going to go in there. We're not going to tell anyone about parkour. Unfortunately, Arlen, you know, lives in Boulder too, so they already kind of knew our background, and we talked to Pink because we trusted them. But then we're like, if it gets out and we come out as liars, that's going to be worse. So we tried to, like, maybe not tell people what we did and play weak. And then we ended up the hunt team first. So we're like, okay, we can't really play weak. We just need to save ourselves. So I guess we're strong now.
No, you guys come off as really strong in the episodes, mostly because we see you guys jumping from rock to rock. But beside the fact that you guys knew that you were the strong team, and you knew that if you got caught, people would see you as a threat, was it even more of a shock, or did it hurt more knowing that it was a blue team that caught you, especially with the sandwiches that happened?
Yes, that's what, like, I couldn't deal with that fact. And even to this day, it's just like a little piece of me is dead inside. Because it's just like, it's my least favorite people on this planet. I can't handle that.
I would feel the same way as you do.
What?
If I were you, I would have felt the same way, because you were upset about the sandwiches. You were hungry. I would have been hungry as well. But with the blue team, did Ryan feel the same way?
Yes, Ryan, as you can probably tell, is he's a little bit more calm than me. I'm definitely more of the extrovert, and he's more of the introvert, and he can, like, kind of deal with things better internally, where I have to just, like, get it out. So, yeah, he was upset, but he was like, what are we going to do? Like, well, let's just deal with whatever we have. And we might have been better off if I hadn't thrown a temper tantrum, because maybe Blue Team would have been as mad at us. But it's hard for me to, like, be nice to people that I don't like. It's just not my thing. Like, if I don't like you, you should know that up front, that I don't like you. And so I guess that's kind of how I was with them, and they knew that. And the sandwiches thing, like, half the time I was just kept complaining because I didn't want people to forget and be like, oh, well, I guess it's not that big of a deal now. Like, I wanted Blue gone. I didn't really care about the sandwiches as much. Because, like, I'm fine being uncomfortable. I don't care. That's why I'm there.
Yeah.
But I wanted people to, like, keep that, like, feeling of hatred for them alive by reminding everyone so that everyone would really try to get them out.
So looking back on that, do you think that game plan hurt or helped you?
Oh, 100% hurt.
100% hurt. Well, did you feel a little bit of hope when Red got caught and was brought back the second day?
Yeah, there was a small, I mean, if it was a team that was, like, no offense to anyone, but there are definitely teams there who appeared weaker. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Appeared weaker. Yeah, so if it had been Teal in jail with us, like, yeah, I would have not even bothered keeping my hopes up. But with Red, I was like, okay, they're strong. They were hunting. They did well.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's what I like.
Politics game enough.
Yeah, it is a lot of politics for sure. And talking about the second day hunt, you know, we came back from the hunt and we saw that Purple was in there. And of course, you see every prey team coming back going, Purple's in there? What? Like, it was so shocking. And it's so, you know, every episode you see, like, everyone goes straight to the jail because they want to know what happened. So it's so funny, Erica. Well, not really funny, but it's great to hear when we were out there and heard what happened to you guys and now visually seeing it. Like, that sucked. Like, you guys got screwed. You definitely got screwed, and it's unfortunate, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. It happens. I mean, it wasn't, like, a fair competition, so I'm not as upset as if it was, like, my fault completely. It's kind of like luck, it's politics, and, you know, really anything can happen. And that's, like, when people were asking us, everyone, after we were hunting, everyone came up to us was like, you have to give us, like, your best word of advice. And I was like, get lucky. That's all I have for you. Because we would be walking around in the forest feeling like we're not going to find anyone. And that's what happened when we caught you guys. It was, like, last minute, like, we were like, we're not catching anyone. And then out of nowhere, you were there. So.
Mm-hmm.
Are you glad that you at least got to have the chance to be the hunt team before you had to leave the show?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I feel like we at least got to experience, like, the whole realm. You know, we got an advantage. We, like, know what the supply stations are all about. Like, I know things are probably just going to keep getting more intense, but I'm glad we got, like, a full experience before we left. It would suck to just have been prey, and that's it.
It was nice to see your team in so many different aspects, because I really feel like we got to really know you guys. Especially a lot of the teams haven't been featured yet, and especially the gray team got kicked off before they got a good chance to be featured. So I'm glad that we got a chance to really get to know you guys.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, talking about the second hunt, and you weren't able to be on the second day's hunt, Erica. But what did you think about Rob and Jacob spending a lot of time over that chocolate cake in the supply station?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like they said, it would have been better for them to stay in there, because the hunt team really didn't have that much time left. So
that's what I was.
It looked like they were getting anxious and maybe getting ready to leave.
That's what I was shocked about. I have to agree with you, Erica. I was shocked that they left the perimeter of safety before Luke, I guess, announced to you guys that the perimeter came down. And even after the perimeter came down, I would have had an exit route planned. I would have known where I was going to sprint, or at least waited to get eyesight on the hunt team to even move, because I would assume that the hunt team is scoping out the supply station.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one thing. Like, it's kind of like only like the stronger teams really were the ones who usually went to supply stations, because if you can't know that you can't outrun the hunt team, then you're screwed if they're there. And the other thing is, like, you can run out and run back in if it's still open. So I'm surprised they didn't do like a test run first.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's the same thing. When you're prey, like sometimes your brain is just not logical. You're just like, I gotta just run.
Well, Jacob could not get over that chocolate cake, so I don't blame him. I just loved when Rob was like, is it the chocolate cake? Yes, it's the chocolate cake.
I know, that was awesome. Well, I hate sub sandwiches. I don't eat like bread. I don't any of that. I hate it. It's gross. But you're hungry. Like we were gulping down like low fat mayo.
No, when I saw Ryan put that mayonnaise in his.
Give me fat free.
It was awful. It was awful watching you guys do that. So if you had been Rob and Jacob, your strategy would have been to stay in the perimeter of safety.
Yeah, I think, and at least done maybe like a little bit of a test run to see, or
Yeah.
run back, place where we could run back in. But you never know. Like especially like you could tell. I think it was Rob, who was like very antsy. When you get that way, it's just like you're not really thinking. It's same with like Kalisha and Matt. You know, they were so like caught up in not wanting to get caught by the blue team that like Kalisha even said like we're not where we want to be. Like we need to get out of here. But
Right, and there's something that I want to touch on and I want your opinion on this too, Erica. And I don't know how we browsed over this with you, James, but all the controversy you started on the first day with the black team and the blue team working together and telling the most aggressive team in the field about it, and then Purple was obviously in the jail and then heard about it when they came back. What happened? What happened?
Well, I mean, of course, it's, day 2 hunt. There's looking glasses in the playing field. And Rebecca and I, it was day 2, right? Because I think Rob and Jacob were already in the jail at this point when the drama happened. So Rebecca and I did decide to utilize the looking glass. And I hate how they showed that clip of me asking why it was an advantage to us, because I knew it was, but at the same time, it wasn't very clear or explained well. So I'm glad that Chris and Nick, the gold team, didn't really give me a hard time for asking a dumb question. So thanks, boys.
Really hard. I love it. Your response. Oh, I forgot they were in this.
I forgot they were in this.
You're hungry. You're not thinking straight.
Oh yeah.
Well, when they told us about the advantage of the looking glass. I'm pointing to my wrist like I have one of these on it. They said that they showed multiple looking glasses on the GPS, so there were multiple looking glasses, right?
He announced that there were 4, and then they showed that one opened.
Yes.
And of course, Rebecca and I were close to one, and we decided it was the perfect time to use it. I think Rebecca and I also too were sick of being viewed as weak, and we wanted to start emerging more with our mental strategy. And so we're like, we're going to utilize this, because if we utilize it, we know we're not a target for blue. So we feel pretty safe for taking a ballsy risk. And we did. And when we looked at the GPS, you see all the teams in the playing field, including the blues. And of course, black and blue were near each other. And of course, the GPS is not the same as what the map is showing. So it looked like to me that they were on top of each other, which apparently wasn't the case. I thought they were working together, which would have been, to me, would have been exceptionally smart, because you're a hunt team. You have these 2 girls with a 20-pound weight belts on.
Whatever they want, whatever you want.
Yeah, and I like.
Are you kidding me? That would have been amazing.
Utilizing a team, your alliance member, to use a looking glass so you could see where teams are that you want to capture and get rid of. That would have been smart.
Yes.
So I assumed that, because that's what I would have done. And when I saw Matt and Kalisha, who also day 1 sabotaged the black team, I thought it was another tip to tell the white team, hey, black and blue are definitely working together, and your sabotage isn't working as it should have, and it's backfiring on everybody.
So when you told white team that black and blue were working together, did you also tell them where blue was so that they could get away from there?
No, because we weren't even near them. And at that time, it didn't even look like we were close to them. Based on what I knew about the terrain and where they were on the map, I was like, I'm going to tell the white team, or we're going to stick with the white team for right now. So I wanted to tell somebody.
Yes.
I'm surprised when we got back to the village later on that the line team's name was never brought up.
Never. But you know what? Kalisha doesn't seem the kind of person that would throw anybody under the bus. Or even saying that.
No, she's not. She is so, like actually, that's one thing. Like when you get an advantage and there's a team right next to you, like, we wanted like an alliance with Chris and Nick anyway, and we trusted them. But it's kind of a thing too. Like the team sees you get that. If you don't share it with them, like
they're gonna tell people.
Yeah, you want to get people on your side. So doing that is like they feel like, oh, they're helping me. Like we're cool. Plus now you're teaming up and putting a target on someone else, and it's the same thing. Like
you guys were really smart when you guys did that the last episode, when you used gold to make them feel like they were part of the decision. I thought that was great. So seeing you tell the white team, I didn't feel like it was the same, like you were using them, but it was drama and it was instigating and I loved it and I enjoyed it and I don't think there was anything wrong with it.
Well, thanks,
but
Donald.
it added a lot, and especially back at camp when Kalisha started saying shady. But what I do want to know is they showed a clip of Rebecca talking to Noelle and Sabrina after all of that went down. Did she try and do damage control? What happened?
I think here's the deal with Rebecca and I. Of course, this is day 6. We're still getting to know everybody. We were in jail for the first episode. So we were still trying to get to know people and where we stood with a lot of the relationships in the camp. And we didn't have an issue with Noelle and Sabrina at the time, but we also knew they were close with Blue, and we didn't want to piss off Black and piss off Blue at the same time, because that's a team of 4, not a team of 2. They're playing Blue team's game. As much as they want to deny it, they're playing Blue team's game. And so for us, if we could do some damage control with the Black team and calm them down and make sure that they felt good, comfortable with us in that moment, that they wouldn't, So
did Rebecca tell them that you guys were the ones that saw the looking glass and you guys were the ones that initially had made the comment that they were working together?
We did approach them, absolutely.
Okay.
We did too. And I said, well, we used a looking glass and we saw that you guys were next to each other. So, but I think with Rebecca being as soft and as sweet as she is, I don't think Black really cared at the end of the day, which again, our strategy's working.
Well, when you were telling the white team that they were together, you did save yourself, because you did say, I didn't see them. This is what I saw on the GPS.
Yes.
So you did save yourself, even though really what you were saying is, I didn't see it, but let me tell you what I think I saw.
And it's all in what you say. That's part of the manipulation.
It is, but I'm glad Kalisha brought it up later. But my issue is the fact that the Black team is aligning with the Blue team, the only team who seems to be aligning with themselves.
Yeah.
Because even when they had the 20-pound weights on, they didn't want to be caught by the Blue team because they didn't trust them.
Yeah.
So I'm just surprised that they're putting all their eggs in this one team's basket.
I was surprised that they said that. Go ahead, Erica.
That's part of why Kalisha said what she said, because she's just the whole vibe of them, not trusting Blue, and they had said that at camp too. They're we don't really 100% trust Blue, but then they're completely aligned with them. It's just I think Kalisha was just calling them out on them being kind of fake, and they were.
And she said you're sleeping with the enemy.
Yeah. They're literally sleeping with the enemy, and I do agree, shady. This episode also could have been called Shady. Just with a lot of A's in it.
I gotta say, though, that drama, was probably the most entertaining thing we've seen in 6 days. So it was like a Jerry Springer SmackDown.
Said what she said on her interview to Kalisha's face. Oh my God.
Oh,
I knew they weren't going to actually say anything. I was like, you know who you're talking to? You're talking to a world champion boxer. Try to say that you're going to slap her. Oh my God.
Oh, I was hoping she would say it too. And Kalisha was so sweet. She was they were say it to her. I did say it. And it's oh, okay. Either they back down or Kalisha's going to beat them.
I was like, if they said it, I would have hopped out of the jail and helped her. Don't talk to Kalisha that way. Kalisha is awesome.
Yeah, Kalisha's wonderful, and I think but also the fighter in the Black team is because they're Brooklyn girls. They're not gonna stand down from a fight. I think that's the New York mentality. So I think it was only natural for Noelle and Sabrina to get in Kalisha's face, but I loved that whole exchange. It definitely was entertaining.
It made, and I agree with you. The Black team, they have a lot of, they'll stand up for themselves, but they also seem like a lot of talk.
Yeah.
And no action.
Sure.
And so
it's when a little kid stands up to you, though. You're like, dude, I could kick you across the room. What are you doing?
It does, and their alliance with the Blue team only makes them seem that much more weak.
Yeah, sure.
And so and so when they were standing up to Kalisha, it was just I enjoy them. And I still enjoy them as the girls on the first episode that said, we'll do anything to win. But I have less trust in them. I really don't have a lot of faith in them. And also, I didn't know that the Black team could spend the night in the Hunter's Den's beds with the Blue team. That seemed all kinds of wrong to me as a viewer. So it was really interesting. So let's talk about should we talk about the elimination now?
Yeah, we can talk about the village going up to elimination, and
let's talk about the night before the elimination.
There's a lot of talk about who should go, because this is shocking for everybody. The first 2 hunt teams are now up for elimination.
Yes.
How do you determine who's stronger when I feel like both teams proved that they're in it to win it? They're both physically able to win this game and carry it all the way to the end. So where do you decide who's stronger of the two?
So as teams that were in the village, as the Lime, and Erica, I want to come to you in just a second because I want to ask you your mentality going into. But for the teams that weren't up for elimination, what was going on in the camp? Who were you guys? What were the reasoning that people were saying about voting for who?
Sure.
For which team?
Well, definitely green, gold, and white had a little agreement going on about wanting to keep purple, and there was more talk about, wanting to vote red out at that time. And Rebecca and I just kind of put ourselves in those social situations to gain as much information as we could, because we did not want to make a point or make a statement this soon, vote one way or another, and piss anyone off.
So you never made any promises?
We wanted to be in the majority. No, we didn't make any promises. So when it came to the vote and people talking, I think what Gold said, Chris, I think it was Chris that said it, lime and pink are the swing votes. And I felt that way too, because you knew teal was going to vote for red to stay. You knew black and blue were going to keep red in the game. It's already a solid 3 votes for red. And then you have a solid 3 votes for purple to stay. So then it comes
Seemingly.
down. Yeah, true.
Seemingly.
At that point, it seemed as, it could have been a tie because Pink and I were on the fence. So going into it, I think it was so up in the air and it was so scary. Erica, what did you guys feel? Like, where did you guys think the votes lied, and who were you most surprised by when it came to votes?
I feel like, kind of like James said when he had spent the first 2 nights in jail, so he didn't get to know anyone. It's kind of the same when you're the hunt team. Like, we're up in this den, secluded. We don't really get to talk to anyone. So when everyone's meeting for the first time, we kind of missed out on that, and I think that was, like, a huge part of, not getting involved in politics when we didn't really know that many people. So, my thoughts were kind of like, I was just assuming, like, preparing myself for the worst, and I kind of felt like, I knew the same thing that you said. I knew the 3 for us, and I felt like I knew the 3 for them, and we knew that pink and lime were going to be swing. But since we did vote for pink, we asked them who they were voting for, and they said that, they would vote for us. And then lime, I don't know. I think Felicia told me this, but I don't know if it's true. She said that Rebecca was wanting to vote for us to stay, and that you wanted to vote for red to stay.
No, that's
so
very true.
Maybe we can... What?
That is true. Rebecca and I were very torn with this vote, because Rebecca definitely wanted to play more on, the fact that we definitely love and adore Ryan and Erica, because when they did capture us, it wasn't any animosity. It was super chill. They helped her up. They were worried about Rebecca's ankle, and that meant a lot to me. But in the grand scheme of things, Rebecca, I kept trying to say to her, when we wake up tomorrow morning and our talent pops up, who do you have a better chance? I mean, granted, who could we capture at this point? Who knows? Her ankle was still tender. But I said to her, who do you think we could actually capture, purple or red? And in my personal opinion, Jacob carries the red team. I don't think Rob is as physically stronger as Jacob. And when you guys pursued us, Ryan and Erica, I was definitely more terrified of pursuing them, because when you see a team, you chase after them, whether you think you can capture them or not, because you want to feel safe and capture someone. I don't feel like Rebecca and I could have captured Ryan and Erica. I don't. And that's the only reason why I kept saying to Rebecca, I like Ryan and Erica, but at the same time, I don't think we could capture them. And this ultimately is a competition.
I have to agree, and I apologize, Erica, but you and Ryan seem equally physically fit and as strong competitors. But when it comes to Rob and but when it comes to Rob and Jacob, every single time I see them running, Rob has to be a good 5 to 10 feet behind.
When Jacob captured Tremana and Arlen, where's Rob?
Rob? He's in the back screaming, "Go, go, go!" But so I do see that point that Rob does not come off as strong as Jacob.
And I in that moment, I know I'm a fast runner. Like, I trained before running on this, and I love Rebecca, but of course with her ankle and the rules that we couldn't be a certain feet away from our partner, I couldn't really display my running abilities in the first few episodes. But I'm fast. I run 3 miles, every other night. I love running. And I felt like if we were the hunt team, there's no doubt I could have captured Rob. So I felt like in that moment, at least that's one capture. If we were to be the hunt team,
that makes sense. Okay, the vote I'm surprised about was gold vote.
Me too.
And so, Erica,
what happened?
Were you surprised about gold? So what happened?
We didn't know what to think.
So you still don't know what to think. You haven't talked to them. Nobody knows. Why did they vote for you?
Well, I feel like we felt like 100% sure, because we definitely had this really tight alliance with green, white, and gold. Like, we all felt strong, and we felt like, let's take this, like, strong teams to the end. We can get all the teams out that we don't want, and then we'll go for a real competition, because that's what we came here for. We came here for a real competition. And I don't even know. I think they said that it had to do with our speech. At the end, we gave, this talk about you're allowed, like, a speech before you go home. And I guess I kind of assumed that we were going home, and I didn't mean for it to sound this way, but since I freaked out, I felt like I needed to, like, kind of redeem myself and show that I wasn't completely insane. And so we just kind of talked about, like, we tried really hard. We're here to, like, do this with integrity, so we're not going to be backstabbers. We're not going to, like, lie and cheat. We're going to do what we can. But, we're happy. We have a great, like, life back home. I love what I do. And so whatever you guys decide, I don't know. I think it was something like that. I don't really remember. And I think to them it sounded like we were okay with going home, which isn't how I meant it to sound, but
yeah,
I guess that's how it came across.
So, but even if they did vote for you guys to stay, it would have been a tie.
It would have. And I think that's another reason why Rebecca and I were worried.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to a tie, did they tell you what would happen in that situation?
The hunt team gets to decide who goes home, and we all know who the hunt team doesn't like more.
And I think that's another reason why, because we for sure thought gold was voting for you guys. And so if we were like, if we vote purple to stay, it's going to be a tie regardless. And I feel like at that day, Rebecca and I would have made enemies because purple would have still gone, and then blue and red would have been like, what the heck, James and Rebecca,
Yeah, you want to stay neutral.
Because we did have close ties with Rob and Jacob too, and if they were going to stay, at the end of the day, I feel like purple would have gone home either way.
You guys did look a little chummy when they.
And you know what? Like, I would have rather the votes than everyone voted us off than had to deal with a tie and having to see blue ultimately, like, be the last. God, no, I would have freaked out again.
You make a good point. Right. I would not want them to steal my
face. No way.
Yeah, I feel So
I'm glad that happened.
Well, Erica, we have a few questions that people tweeted me that they want to know from you. In the first episode, now we know that the hunt team can invite people up to the Hunter's Den. Who did you guys bring up to the Hunter's Den?
We brought Pink up, and it was completely, like, me and Ryan were talking about it, and we're like, oh, dude, like, should we pick, like, a strong team? Should we strategize about this? Like, ooh, this is exciting. Like, we get to make an alliance or whatever. But then we thought about it, and we're like, we don't know anyone. Like, we don't even get to talk to everyone. Like, everyone's down in the village, like, chit-chatting and talking, and we don't have that opportunity. So we're like, let's not involve ourselves in politics, like, right off the bat. We invited Pink because they were from Boulder, too. And we're like, we're not even going to talk about, we didn't even talk about the game. We didn't talk about politics. We didn't talk about anything. All we talked about was Boulder and its awesomeness and how much we love Boulder. And that's like, it had nothing to do with the game. We were just like, let's just make this like a relaxing night. And we invited them to like actually like sleep up in our den too. Me and Ryan shared one and we gave them the other one. So yeah, it was just like, that's all it was.
Right. And then we also, two people tweeted me, did Erica ever get her sub sandwiches and did it taste good?
I did not, actually. As soon as I got back and started, like, it takes like a day for you to get back into like normal eating routine. And immediately, as soon as I had food available, I was like, yeah, I don't want that anymore. I'll probably never eat a sub sandwich again now, just because I'm annoyed by them.
Oh gosh, and I think that's all the questions. A lot of people wanted to know about the sub sandwiches, and I think
everybody. I would have wanted to ask about the sub sandwiches too. So, but I do have a question because the hunt team gets to spend 2 nights in the Hunter's Den.
It's
one night in the Hunter's Den.
It's one night. I don't remember. I
Erica, did you guys get to spend 1 night or 2 nights in the Hunter's Den?
We got to spend 2 nights, but it's different. It's all based off of like. I don't know. It was really confusing. But yeah, we got to spend 2 nights and
my only question is if you got to spend a second night, did you get to invite a team up on the second night or was it just 1 night?
No, they didn't. Yeah, they didn't let us do that.
Okay. That was my question for you because you got to personally be in the Hunter's Den, so I definitely wanted to ask you that. So then
yeah.
If you sorry, my bad.
Oh, what?
No, that
Erica, where can people find you if they want to follow you on Twitter? And then definitely plug Apex in right now. Tell us about Apex a little bit.
All right, Apex Movement is like Wonder Man's land. It's basically like when you have a dream and you're little and you're talking to your friends, you're like, oh, what house are we going to live in? Like, what's it going to look like? And it's basically a huge playground. That's what Apex is. You have everything that you could ever want. There's like trampoline. We just got a new gym in Boulder. It's got like a trampoline, a foam pit, a crazy like underground tunnel system that has a secret slide into like a secret den that you can only get into through a slide or a ladder or a pole. And it's got everything you could ever want to jump on. So yeah, check out Apex Movement. We have, if you go to Demon Drills, that's Ryan's main YouTube channel, or you can type in Ryan Ford, I'm sure it'll find it. There's videos of our team and everything on there. And for me, Twitter, I believe I don't even know. I think it's Erica_N_Madrid, and I think it's the same for Instagram. And then, yeah, look me up on YouTube. That's where my cooler stuff is.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling in, Erica. I definitely appreciate you taking the time. And Rebecca and I owe Boulder a visit in the near future for sure.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, thank you, Erica,
Thanks
for calling. It was
me.
nice talking to you.
Okay, you too.
All right. Talk to you later, Erica. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Love her.
Oh my God. I'm so glad we got a chance to talk to her, especially after the whole breakdown and everything that happened on TV. It's nice to hear her side of things.
Of
and just to,
course. Because we are real people. And this situation's not easy.
No, and it's
her freak out to me was completely justifiable. We're not given food. We're dehydrated. And a team that you don't like catches you. Of course, you're gonna freak out.
Yes, and when you're in a situation like that, you're completely disconnected from the real world. You're from reality. This is your reality. So I'm not surprised she responded that way, because I'm the kind of person that probably would have responded the same way. So, but let's talk about what we think is gonna happen the next episode. Predictions and gossip.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, I probably don't have too much to comment on because I already know.
Well, I have lots to comment on because you seem to be the center of all the drama lately.
I know you said I instigate the fight in episode 3, and now it looks like I decide to go head to head with Eric.
It doesn't seem like you decide to go head to head with Eric as much as he decides to try and put you in a corner to get more food. And the thing with Eric and Shane is I don't know if it's because he really wants more food or if he just wants to stir a little bit of trouble.
To be a butthead.
Yes. Yeah. And so I'm interested to see what happens. I think the next hunt team, going with the randomness of the pick, I think that it's going to be gold or green. So, but you know what? It might be pink. It's either going to be gold, green, or pink from my eyes. I don't think it's going to be white yet. I do think that maybe green because they've been talking about how fast they are. So those are my predictions. I know on the online preview you did say there was an ambulance and that somebody is going to get hurt. So I'm excited to see all of that drama. I don't know who's going to go home. I can't rely on who's going to vote. And I just want to say, where is the Till team running through the forest? Because I haven't seen them in a couple episodes. So
it should be interesting next week, and I'm very excited, and I love that you're excited too.
I'm very excited.
All right, Donald, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Donald Romain. You can find me on Twitter at Tigris Hobbs. And that's about it.
On Instagram?
No, on Instagram is Donald Romain.
Okay.
On Twitter is Tigris Hobbs.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And you can find me on Twitter at James Wallington and on Instagram at Mr. MR, James Wally. And you can continue to look forward to seeing me next week, apparently, on CW's Capture at 9 o'clock. Hashtag Lime Team. Love you, Rebecca, if you're watching. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe.
And ask questions.
And questions.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.